what I discovered when I started reading Ruth was, I mean, I knew I wanted to talk about the constellation of my mother and her sisters and the women who brought me up and the absence of male figures in that whole thing. But what happens in the first chapter is that there is a famine in the land, and Naomi, who her husband has died, flees. I think she's got a couple of sons, and the sons take wives, one of whom is Ruth, and then the sons die, and the women are left husbandless, and their only attachment is to Naomi, their mother-in-law, and that word law jumps out, so it doesn't come out like mother-in-law. It's like their relationship is by the law, only by the law. And the other, Naomi, they go back to the homeland, and Naomi says, okay, you can leave me now. I don't need you anymore. You can go back to your families. There's nothing here that your husbands are going to be able to give you. And the one daughter-in-law leaves, but Ruth stays, and Ruth makes this absolute vow of commitment to Naomi. And that's when Naomi says, don't call me Naomi anymore, call me Mara.
Ay, navegando me perdí, y con la luz de tus ojos a Puerto de Mar salí, a Puerto de Mar salí.
No la abandones. Pasa para acá. ¡Qué pena, Dios! ¡Cuídate! Deja la maleta. Deja la maleta.
I have a son, you know. You do? Where is he? I don't know.
Well?
Are you seeing what's happening?
Well, I can see what the camera sees.
What does the camera see?
Just your head. Want to see everything?
As you set out for Ithaka, hope the voyage is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lastrygonians and Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You'll never find things like that on your way, as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lastrygonians and Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope the voyage is a long one. May there be many a summer morning when, with what pleasure, what joy, you come into harbors seen for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things. Mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony, sensual perfume of every kind. As many sensual perfumes as you can. and may you visit many Egyptian cities to gather stores of knowledge from their scholars. Keep Ithaka always in your mind. Arriving there is what you are destined for, but do not hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years, so you are old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaka to make you rich. Ithaka gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you would not have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaka won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you will have understood by then what these Ithakas mean.
And then I started thinking about Sophie's mother, and the only image I have of Sophie's mother is this one black and white photo of the house in Tooele, where it's actually a photo of Nick, who's sitting on the front porch, looking very Greek, and the screen door with the weather panes in it is behind him, and you get just a ghostly figure of Helen, the mother, behind it, because you've got mostly its reflection, and she's there.
I have a son, you know. You do? Where is he? I don't know.
He'd gone down south. Been gone 3 years, I think. With that southern girl, that charmer with the hairstyle. None of us heard much. And then, out of the blue, an email. I'm coming back. There'd been some kind of a catastrophe, the sort he seems to attract. He wrote me, I've made up my mind to be annihilated. He called himself a nobody, and said he was determined to remain one. All his efforts at recognition were fruitless, and anyway, wasn't it better to operate incognito? On the margin, behind the scenes. When he got here, he called me and said, I'm back in gloomy Ithaka. He said he'd been sleeping, incommunicado, and now he'd washed ashore like some bit of wreck, lost, silent, amazed. He told me, I've traveled home to here asleep, trying to think, to pull what I'd once felt out of the shadows. My feelings are locked in the cryptic might of things, in a piece of pipe lying in the road, a heave of warm flesh, in the cracked concrete, the wet grass, the true doors of the real. One night I had him to dinner. I made my mother's Brazilian barbecue chicken. He said, did you know the Portuguese invented the shipwreck tale?